I decided to do a talk show for my capstone probably the day that I figured out what a capstone was, which was freshman year. Um, I knew that it was something that I've always wanted to do, and I thought that maybe by my senior year I'd change my idea based on what I've learned. And the more I've learned, the more I still wanted to do a TV talk show. So I knew that when it was my senior year and it was time to pitch an idea to DVC, that definitely a TV talk show was the route that I wanted to take. And I wanted to take that route because I felt like it was a good platform to be able to combine a lot of my passions into one big project. The first step to creating my TV talk show was creating what's called a Bright Ideas folder, which is also something that I got from DVC. First, probably taking PC 101. And the Bright Ideas folder is basically you create a folder, and it can be on your computer, or for me it was on my tablet, or it can be a written folder where you take it with something that's by you all the time, and you go in and anytime you think of something good, or you think, oh, this could be a good attribute to whatever project you're working on, you would put it in your folder just in case you can't get to do it right then. You'll put it in your Bright Ideas folder, and you'll revisit it and try to work that plan out or see if it could work. And for me, I created it on my tablet, and my tablet is with me everywhere I go. I named him Eli, and so I placed a lot of my ideas or different topics that I may have wanted to cover, people that I may have had in mind for the show, different set designs that I toyed with. I put potential names for my show into this folder, and it is a huge help because there are a lot of times when you think of something that's like, oh my God, this is a good idea, and then you don't have a pen or a piece of paper or something around to actually do it, and you're like, you know what, I just remember, keep it in mind, and I remember it later and I'll do it. And when later comes, you completely forget that good, brilliant idea, and sometimes it never comes back. So creating the Bright Ideas folder really, really helped me in getting my show done. The next step for doing my TV talk show was thinking about content. What did I actually want to put in my show? And I started by thinking of all the things that I'm passionate about. And for people that know me, they know that I am a very sensitive person. And so a lot of things there are a lot of things that I'm passionate about. So I just wrote a long list of things in my Bright Ideas folder, of things that I was very passionate about, and things that I felt other people were passionate about or people struggled with on campus as a college student. And so I weaved through those to figure out what could be most helpful. And through that, I came up with my fashion segment, which is something that I'm very passionate about. And I kind of wanted to do that just to add a fun element, but also to kind of really help people with their appearance. And a lot of people think that it's cliche to think about looks, but I don't think, as long as it's not all about looks, I think if you can complement the way you look with your day-to-day actions and the amount of effort that you put into your work, then it's not shallow. If your fashion and the way you look always overshadows everything else, then that's when it's a shallow situation. But I felt like fashion would be a fun element, but also informative. And The next was relationships, because we all go through it as college students. We all are seeking girlfriends, boyfriends, and we've been in and out of relationships. Friendships also count. So I felt like that was a good thing to also put, because we all can relate to that, and a lot of us struggle with that. And I've had conversations with people where they actually choose the relationship and let everything else suffer. And if that was somebody on this campus, I kind of wanted to reach those people that way. And I had my other choice was balance. And I kind of made that a broad statement just because I didn't want to specify what we're balancing. I wanted to get people in that were actually balancing a lot of things and get them in and have them talk about it, because I feel like a lot of us, and myself included especially, I'll be a living testament to learning study habits, because honestly before I got here I didn't have one. And so it was a trial and error situation for me for a while to figure out what actually works for me to retain information and actually be able to do other clubs and do homework and study and have a social life. All of that stuff I had a hard time managing, so I knew that I'm surely not the only one, so I wanted to make sure that I actually put that into my show and help other people overcome that as well. It is very interesting how I came up with my show name. I spent weeks and weeks and weeks trying to figure out how I was going to come up with my show's name. And I actually sat and set aside an hour of my day outside of studying and all of that good stuff to work on Capstone and really think of a name. Nothing ever came. And so I had everything else in place actually for my show except a name, and I could not think of it. So, and I wake up 7:30 in the morning and I go about my day, and I'm usually in bed by 12 a.m. usually, sometimes later, and nothing ever came to mind in that time frame. Suddenly I go to bed a little after 12, and about 3:30 in the morning my good old conscience wakes me up with a show name, and I type it into my Bright Ideas folder, and I wake up, I go back to sleep, and I wake up and I'm like, you know what, I really like that name. And that's how the Wesley J Show came to be. And a lot of people may be wondering, where did the J come from? But my middle name is Jamal. I didn't want to say the Wesley Jamal Show, and so I thought, oh, let's make it the Wesley J Show. And at first I had Wesley and then the letter J. And I was like, I think it'll be a little cooler and a little more young and fresh if I do spell out the word J in a creative way. So Wesley J is how that came to be. When thinking about the people that I wanted to have as talent in my show, I broke down each segment that I wanted to have for my show, and I just thought about all the people that I thought would be most helpful in those given areas. And so, for example, the fashion segment, I wanted to think about who actually is fashion forward on this campus and who could actually help me convey how easy it is to be fashionable or to care about your appearance without having to put in a lot of work or making it seem like you're shallow. And so I found my two people, which were Liddy and Summer, and they actually were a big help in getting that together. And one of my big challenges was who to get for balance, and who would actually have time, who would actually be able to come in the studio and tell me about how they balance their day-to-day. And I thought of all the people that I thought were busy, and then I was able to get the two busiest people I know to actually come on the show and shed some light on all of the things that they do on campus, off campus, in the world in general, and how they balance it all. And I think they did a really good job. Somehow we came up with the how about we make it seem like you are in your closet or in your dorm room and you're just sitting and talking. And in your dorm room, what's in your dorm room? You have a closet. For me, anyway, my closet is my biggest feature because that's where all the color is. That's where all the shoes and everything else. And everything else, honestly, is pretty bland because I don't really stay in my room that often, so I never really care that much. So we decided to go with the closet feel and have other little pieces that says me and kind of resemble what I do in life. So we had other things such as pom-poms and my megaphone because I am a cheerleader. And it actually worked. I actually liked that idea, and it did give off the feel that I wanted as I watched on camera and edited the show. The actual show day, I was extremely nervous. It was nerve-wracking to give out all of these instructions. This is what I want, this is what I don't want. Make sure you do this, make sure the lighting is well, make sure the guests actually feel comfortable. There's a million things going through my mind on the day of the show. But I do think that everything was done very well. There was a few things that I learned from this show, which is, one is making sure that your crew is following everything you want to the T. And for the most part, they did, but there were just maybe 3 camera shots that really bothered me because I was looking at a camera that is in the script for me to look at, but the camera didn't switch to that camera. The switcher didn't switch to that exact camera. So making sure small things like that were better executed or making sure you pay attention to the small details is what I mainly learned out of the show.